Bayern hijack Arsenal's defensive moves, Barcelona spoiled the party, Ole's on thin ice, we've got a transfer roundup and today's power rankings all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers and this is the Daily News. First up, Bayern Munich are looking to completely scupper Arsenal's bid for Upamecano. The RB Leipzig centre-back has had a fantastic season and is rightly so drawn interest from all around Europe. Now there were reports that Arsenal were looking to wait until the end of the season before launching a £50 million bid for the Frenchman, but looks as though Bayern may beat them to it. Now, this gets a little bit confusing because Arsenal also interested in Jerome Boateng from Bayern. It looks like they won't let the German go without signing a replacement. So technically, if Arsenal were to let Bayern win the race for Upamecano, they'd be then willing to let Jerome Boateng go, which is when Arsenal could move in and bring him in. I know it doesn't seem like a very good deal that they're letting a brilliant 24-year-old go and bringing in the 31-year-old who's probably past his prime years, but such as the appeal and the money that Bayern Munich can offer, it looks like they'll definitely be able to bring him in on a more promising deal than Arsenal can. Despite this though, they are still looking at other defensive cover, with PSG's Layvin Kurzawa apparently joining Arsenal for around £5 million. This because his contract is running out in the summer and, well, they'll be willing to take any sort of money for him. But moving on and to some Copa del Rey action from last night where, if you didn't know, Barcelona were playing away at Ibiza. That's right, the party island most known for throwing all sorts of insane parties actually has a football team as well, and they did pretty damn well against Barcelona. It wasn't the strongest Barcelona side, and by that I mean Lionel Messi wasn't in the squad, but my God, there was still an insane amount of talent on the pitch throughout the game. Griezmann, Neto, Vidal, Frenkie de Jong, Rakitic, Ansu Fati was in there. There definitely were top-level Barca players there. So what I want to know is, because the other day on the Daily News, I had a lot of Barca fans coming at me in the comment section. Matt, you should have watched the game. Matt, Barcelona are brilliant even though they only beat Granada 1-0. So now, what can you tell me about almost losing to a third division Spanish side? Antoine Griezmann had to save Barcelona's blushes. He scored an equaliser with 20 minutes to go and then scored the winner in the 94th minute. Has Quique Setién really turned it around, or is that a kind of performance, a sort of hangover performance from the Valverde reign? As I mentioned, Ibiza did take the lead and they were unlucky to have a second ruled out and then hit the post and could have been 3-0 up at half time. Again, for those of you saying, oh Matt, you should have watched the entire match, I was actually watching the Premier League last night. But regardless, Barca fans, let me know, because surely that is not the kind of performance that you want to see from the last manager, the new manager, any manager, even with the quality of players that were on show. But talking of the Premier League last night, and there was a lot going on, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finds himself on very thin ice. Looks like he may not be at the wheel for much longer. So we all know that Burnley managed to win 2-0 at Old Trafford, an insane result for them, with Chris Wood bagging yet another goal. He's on fine form this season. What it means for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is they need to bring in new players. It's clear that they're not playing for him and that they need some new guys who are going to have a bit of energy and a bit of quality when going forward. With Marcus Rashford out for the next few months, they really need that cutting edge, either with the final through ball or with the finishes. Anthony Martial last night guilty of missing a really good opportunity, as well as Daniel James. Solskjaer may not find himself in the hot seat for much longer, but regardless, he did have the balls after the game to say that their transfer policy needs to change. This isn't for him. It's for Man United as a whole. It's for the squad as a whole. The whole Bruno Fernandes situation is dragging on too much, and apparently the latest is that evaluation hasn't been met, sporting evaluation of the player. And there's also other players that could have been brought in, but it just seems like nothing's really moving forwards. Chichov Biontech has apparently been asked over. Cavani said no to joining Manchester United. Who else is going to be next? They need to do something about it, and so does Ole, because he knows it'll be his head that gets the chop. But next up, we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news. And talking of Cavani, Chelsea have made an offer to loan him for the rest of the season. Inter Milan are in talks with Napoli about selling them Matteo Politano, with Fernando Llorente coming in the opposite direction, meaning Olivier Giroud won't be needed by Antonio Conte's men. Gareth Bale will not be leaving on loan this season, according to his agent, and Spurs are interested in bringing Real Sociedad striker Willian Jose. So here we are at the Onefootball Power Rankings. This is when we put together a list of the top 10 players around Europe based on their last 5 games in the league and European competition. That means no cups, no French Cup, no English League Cup, none of that stuff. we're just focusing on the league and the Champions League or Europa League. With that said and done, let's take a look at who's in numbers 10 to 6 this week. In at number 10 is Marco Reus there, Upamecano, who's speaking about earlier, and at number 9, Julian Brandt and Jadon Sancho, the Dortmund teammates, make up 8 and 7, with Thiago at number 6. So into the top 5 now, and in at number 5, it's the guy that is on unstoppable form at the moment, Adama Traore. Not only has he been brilliant in scoring and assisting, he literally dragged his team back from the depths after turning around a fantastic losing position into all 3 points at the weekend. Wolves found themselves 2-0 down, ended up winning 3-2 against Southampton. No part, in fact, to Adama Traore's 2 assists. Number 4 though, and he's still in there despite the fact that PSG and any team in Liga hasn't played a Ligue 1 or Champions League / Europa League game since last week. It's Kylian Mbappe. It's basically for the same reason as last week, scoring loads of goals, causing havoc in defence, and sits in at number 4. He has moved down a few places though, and one of the reasons is because of Ciro Immobile. Now Serie A's top goal scorer by far and away the most amount of goals, 23 this season. He scored a hat-trick against Sampdoria on Friday night and looks in incredible form. I mean, take away the fact that Lazio were knocked out of the cup as holders, but that doesn't count to the power rankings anyway, so Immobile is number 3. So what we do now is we come to the final 2 is I'll present a case for both. First off, there's Neymar. As I mentioned with Mbappe, nothing has changed in Liga. So Neymar's still got all these brilliant stats from the last 5 games in the French League and in the Champions League as well. A near perfect score, but rivaling him this week, Cristiano Ronaldo. Just when you thought his 2020 couldn't get any better, he scores 2 goals as Juventus see off Parma 2-1. Added to this, it means he's now scored 6 in the last 3 and 9 in the last 5 games. And he's definitely back to his best form. When things heat up, Cristiano Ronaldo is the man to call. So with that said and done, I can now announce that the winner is Neymar. He's still on top. 3-4 weeks, I can't even remember. He's got such ridiculous results and nothing's really changing in the French League at the moment that he's still on top and can't be beaten. Of course, with all the teams returning to league action this weekend, I'm sure the next week's power rankings will bring something different. Until you're waiting for those though, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the power rankings and the rest of today's daily news. Whilst you're at it, smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.